You're so crazy. How'd you get out?
I thought you were talking to me. How did I get out?
Oh, no, I'm talking to my dog. I didn't realize I was on speaker. I'm just out here working in the yard talking to my dog. Sorry.
The dog wanted to participate in the
conversation.
webinar.
Sorry. So, yeah, hold on a second. Let me figure out how to mute me. Sorry, everybody.
So just a real quick introduction. Cindy, real quick, are you seeing just the PowerPoint, or are you seeing part of the Zoom video on that screen too?
I'm seeing part of Zoom video and the PowerPoint.
Oh, you don't see it now, do you?
I see your PowerPoint and I see myself, you, I've got the.
Oh, okay, I got you.
Slide.
I got you. All right. So just a quick introduction. My name's Burton Kelso, the technology expert. I'm a tech expert based out of the greater Kansas City area. What our business does is we're basically Geek Squad for real estate agents. So we go around and help agents take care of all sorts of tech issues, whether it be setting up networks and fixing Windows and Macintosh computers. But part of what I do too is go around to different real estate organizations and talk about how to get most of the technology that you folks use in your business. So obviously with this coronavirus pandemic, we're going to share 8 smart tips that are going to be allowing you to stay connected, make sure that you don't fall victim to data crime, and also to make sure that you are that you're keeping your devices disinfected as well. So Cindy, you can see that first slide, right?
Yes.
Okay, good deal. So obviously we're all under the coronavirus lockdown. So it's changed the way that we do business. Some businesses obviously are able to continue business as usual, but as Cindy was saying earlier, there's, I guess, in your neck of the woods, real estate agents are considered an essential business, so you're having to work remotely, which I guess can be a godsend for some of you, but for others, it can definitely take a chunk out of your paycheck. So how in the heck are you going to keep going as far as your business is concerned with this coronavirus? So obviously with the social distancing, we don't want an office environment where you've got sick people coming in and spreading germs. No one wants to deal with that at all. The challenge is if you work remotely, I mean, there's many threats that you have to worry about other than keeping disinfected. So let's go through, other than getting infected with the virus, let's go through some of the threats that you may have to go through as far as cybercrime is concerned. So there's not many threats out there, but the major ones are, number one, you've got ransomware. And I hope everyone here understands what ransomware is, but if you don't, I'll explain. Ransomware is when you get malicious software on your computer or on your smart device that will basically lock up all your files. So if you get ransomware on your computer or your smartphones, it means that all of your files become encrypted and you can't access those files any longer. The other challenge with ransomware is the fact that not only will it infect your computer files, it can also go up to the cloud. So if you've got stuff stored in Dropbox, Google Drive, or even Microsoft's OneDrive, then it will infect those items as well. So you really have to make sure that you're taking precautions not to infect your devices with ransomware, or at the very least, make sure that you have some sort of backup in place in order to make sure that if you get infected, that you can retrieve those files back. And as far as our next threat that you have to deal with is malware. Now, malware normally comes in the form of a browser hijack where it redirects your web browser. It used to be in about 5 or 10 years ago, malware would come up in the form and would do just strange stuff to your computer, but those days have disappeared. Malware normally just infects your web browser, whether you use Chrome or Firefox. So what you'll begin to notice is that when you have malware on your computer, your web browser will be redirected to a specific website. So if you go to Google or any other web search, it'll just redirect you. And the challenge with that, if it redirects you, it can take you to a malicious website that will download bad software on your device. So with your browser, you really want to make sure that you are surfing in websites that you should be visiting and making sure that you're not clicking on links that you shouldn't be clicking on, which leads us to our next threat, which is phishing. So phishing is probably one of the major ways that most people are going to get infected on their smart devices. With phishing scams, they can come in with the website that you go to that's saying that you're going to get more information about the coronavirus. You'll get phishing emails that will probably lead you to fake sites that say that they can offer testing for the coronavirus. The other challenge that you have to worry about with phishing schemes is that now that we're all working remotely, you may get an email from your broker saying that they need important information as far as your real estate office is concerned. And as far as wire fraud transfer schemes, normally these frauds come in the way of a phishing scheme. So with wire fraud, it's normally someone gets access to the agent's email, or they get access to the loan office's email, and then they send a phishing email to the buyer or seller asking for a wire transfer. And so that's how normally that occurs. I know there's thought out there that people think that a device or a computer was hacked, but that's never the case. Usually with most data crime, it's through a phishing scheme that where your device gets hacked. So you really have to be careful with the phishing schemes that are going on out there, and make sure that you're looking at your email and reading everything thoroughly to make sure that you are that the email is coming from a legitimate source. Because we are so much in a hurry in our lives that we don't take the time to read emails like we should. Now, one of the other scams that's going on right now is what's called credential stuffing. And with all of the data breaches that are going on out in the world, your information is out there on the web. So whether it be your real estate office email or your personal email, that information is sitting out on the World Wide Web. And so what cyber criminals will begin to do is to gather that data, and they basically stuff the credentials of, say, email websites. Sometimes they'll do it on social media websites. But with your username and your password, especially with it being leaked on the dark web, many hackers are able to get access to your business email just for the simple fact that they have access to that data. So to avoid credential stuffing, whenever you feel or find out that your real estate email or even your personal email has been breached, then you need to take the steps to change the password on all of those email accounts so cyber criminals can't access that stuff. I know on a smaller scale, Disney Plus was accused of being hacked, and it was actually credential stuffing where people had used their Netflix accounts to set up their Disney Plus accounts, and so hackers were getting into that information. But the other side of that is when you're talking about more secure sites like, say, Ring Doorbell. I know there was an instance back in December where Ring was accused of being hacked, but it wasn't the case. It was someone had used the same credentials for their Ring doorbell that they had used for, say, another online site, and the criminals were not only able to access the Ring camera, but they were able to also access, I guess, the speaker system. And so the criminals were talking to the kids in the home, taunting them, saying that they were Santa Claus. And it wasn't Ring was hacked. It was that whoever set up the account used credentials that were already breached out on the internet. So I really want to caution you agents out there that you want to make sure that you check and find out that your credentials aren't on the dark web. Because here's one of the most interesting facts about data crime or breaches. So more than 99% of cyber attacks rely on human interaction. Essentially means that if you're not clicking on something or you're not responding to an email, your devices are safe. So if you have a smartphone or a tablet or even a Windows or Mac computer, it's already got the security measures in place, as long as you're keeping your devices up to date, to make sure that you're immune from most of the cyber attacks out there. But most cyber attacks require human interaction. So that's why it's really important for you to educate yourselves and to make sure that you aren't clicking on any malicious links or any goofy emails that are coming through. Because obviously right now, with us being socially isolated, the emails is probably one of the more prominent forms of communication that's going to occur. Obviously, video conferencing is going to be a big part of that, but it's really quick to send out an email. So it's going to be more tempting for cyber criminals to send out malicious emails in order to trick people, in order to click on stuff that they shouldn't. And for real estate agents, the other reason why cybercrime is so prominent is the art of real estate is just such a complicated business. You're dealing with different people. Obviously, for the most part, you're dealing with the agent that you're with face to face. But at the same time, too, there are other entities that you may not see face to face. So it's really easy for a cyber criminal to infiltrate that communication process and fraud people out of money, whether it be a wire scam, or it's even been to the point where cyber criminals have actually impersonated real estate agents in order to commit rent fraud or even just wire fraud as far as home purchases are concerned. So educate yourself as far as phishing schemes that you can avoid, and then also make sure that you're taking steps to make sure that your information isn't on the dark web so that you can keep yourself safe. Because the challenge is, when it boils down to cybercrime, really boils down to you and what you need to do in order to protect yourself from all of the stuff out there. So be vigilant, be safe, and make sure that you're taking the steps. So now it's the actual 8 steps as far as how to work remotely. Let's go ahead and start with them. So the first step is to have the right tools to make sure that you can work remotely. And the most important tool that you're going to have is the internet. So obviously you've got to have fast internet service in order to utilize all of this mobile and remote work that we are going to do. And probably one of the most important tools to make sure that you have stable internet to even work remotely, at least with your land-based internet, is a website called speedtest.net. Now, speedtest.net you can access from any web browser out there. You could just go to Speedtest, and the way it works is, and I guess I can show you because I can share the screen. So let me get out of this, and then we're going to actually open up a browser, and I'm going to show you how to use Speedtest. But Speedtest will definitely let you know if you have decent internet enough to really do video conferencing. Also, it may be the deciding factor to find out if you can go in and do anything internet related. So let me bring up Speedtest. Let me get back to Zoom, and then I'll share that screen. Okay. So I've got a Speedtest screen up, and let me share it. So there's Speedtest. So if I click on go, what's going to happen is it gives me my upload speed and my download speed. Now, the most important speed is my download speed. So as you can see, it should be faster, but we've got pretty decent internet speed at close to 100 megabits per second down. So download speed is the speed that how quickly stuff comes down on the internet. So with us all video conferencing, our download speed is going to be the most important factor. Now, as far as the upload speed that you're seeing now, that's how quickly files leave your computer or your device to make sure that you can get access to or send stuff to other people. So if you're uploading files to Dropbox, some of the other cloud-based real estate tools, that's what your upload speed is going to help you accomplish. So any questions so far as Speedtest is concerned? And it'll work on any browser. It doesn't matter if you're using Safari, doesn't matter if you're using Chrome or anything like that at all. Another tool that you can use if you, let's say you're struggling with the internet service that you currently have, one of the other tools that you can use, and let me share that screen, is called highspeedinternet.com. So what it does is if you go to highspeedinternet.com, whatever area you're in the country, it will allow you to find out who offers the fastest internet speed in your area. And I think the challenge is for many of you is like, where to get internet. I can mute somebody. Let's see. There we go. Okay. Can everyone hear me without the, okay, good. All right. So with the highspeedinternet.com, what happens is it uses your GPS location to find out where you are, and then it'll provide the best internet service provider out there. So I'm assuming everyone out there isn't experiencing problems with their internet in their home office, correct? And another option that you can use too, obviously, is your phone's hotspot. But when you use your phone's hotspot, you really want to be careful and make sure that you aren't going above and beyond your data plan. Because I hope most of you have unlimited data like I do through Verizon. But if you start using your hotspot, make sure 100% sure that you do have an unlimited plan with whoever your carrier is, because if you don't, at the end of the month or at the end of your billing cycle, you're going to get a surprise as far as your bill is concerned. So be sure to check, make sure, because I know some carriers out there will say, oh yeah, you've got unlimited data, but in all actuality, you don't have unlimited data. And the other thing that'll happen with your mobile broadband is the fact that when you're using that internet service, it may start to throttle down once you reach a specific speed. So if you're relying on your hotspot, you may not be getting the speeds that you're supposed to get. So be aware and make sure that you check with your cellular provider that you're not getting throttled on your cellular. And I think for the most part, most land internet providers aren't throttling your land internet speed. So if you have Comcast or Spectrum or Google or whoever in your area, you don't have to worry about the throttling with that. But with your mobile hotspot, you may have to worry about that. So you definitely want to make 100% sure that you aren't having that with your internet provider. So next, you want to use collaborative tools in order to talk back and forth. So the ones that I always recommend are G Suite, which can be free, and maybe your real estate office is offering that as part of their package, but it's probably one of the best tools that you can use to collaborate, because it's a lot easier to just collaborate with Google G Suite. You also have the option of Microsoft Office, and this one is kind of important to talk about, because the good thing about Microsoft Office 365, if you're using it, there's a lot of agents out there that don't realize that if you are utilizing Office 365 to use Word or PowerPoint, et cetera, that you have 1 terabyte of storage with OneDrive. And I don't know, there's a lot of people out there that don't realize that with Office 365, but OneDrive, by default, if you have Windows 10, if you're a Windows user, then you only get 5 gigabytes of storage space. But if you have OneDrive, even for Windows or for Mac, but if you have a Office 365 account, you do have access to that OneDrive 1 terabyte of storage that you can upload files and videos or whatever to your OneDrive account. And the bonus with OneDrive for Windows users, you can't necessarily do this on your Mac. You can set up OneDrive, if you're using Office 365, to automatically back up your files from your device, whether it be your smartphone or your computer, and they'll automatically synchronize to OneDrive. So if you've got, that comes in handy if you're using multiple devices, or even if you're using a single device. So if you have, say, a desktop and a laptop, if you synchronize your OneDrive accounts, then your files will be in sync wherever you are in the world. But if you just have a single device, you can have peace of mind knowing that your OneDrive account will back up the files in your pictures desktop and your documents folder, and it'll send it to OneDrive automatically. So the good thing as far as backup is concerned, whenever you save a file to your desktop or to your documents in your Microsoft Office document, and it doesn't matter which program you're using, it'll automatically upload that information to OneDrive. So if you have an Office 365 account, I know Microsoft isn't always open about the 1 terabyte of storage that you have, but be sure to take advantage of that OneDrive account to make sure that you're backing up your stuff, because you want to make sure that you've got backups of your stuff, because you never know when something catastrophic is going to happen with your data. So always, 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 if you do anything else, make sure you're backing up your stuff. Now, with everyone being home, if you wanted to, say, collaborate by accessing someone else's computer, there's several tools that you can use in order to do screen share back and forth. Obviously, you can use Zoom, like I'm doing, to share your screen back and forth. But let's say you have an admin that wants to be able to log into your stuff. There are several tools that you can use in order to do collaborative screen sharing. One of them is Google Chrome Remote Desktop. Now, the challenge with Google Chrome Remote Desktop is that you have to use Chrome as your default browser, or at least you have to have Chrome installed on your computer. So if you're a Safari user with Apple, that may not be a good plan for you. But if you do use Google on your Windows computer, on your smartphone, or even on your Windows computer, you can use Chrome Remote Share, which will allow you to share your documents back and forth and share your screen. So like I said, if you have an admin, you can definitely have them use Chrome Remote Desktop to access your computer, and then they can utilize their computer like they're sitting at it, or you can send files back and forth while you're collaborating with each other. Another good remote desktop tool is TeamViewer. And I'm sure if you've done remote desktop, TeamViewer may be a tool that you've used. TeamViewer is free. Same thing with Google Remote Desktop. It's a free utility that you can just go to either teamviewer.com to download TeamViewer and use it, or if for Google, you can just Google Remote Desktop, and then it will install the plugin that will allow you to access your computer. There's another utility that you might want to use called Zoho Assist. Zoho Assist, you can just go to zoho.com. It has awesome free collaborative tools, including Zoho Remote Assist, which will allow you to remote into someone's computer or even your office computer to access files and share files back and forth. Now, as far as cameras in video conferencing, there's only, other than the camera that's installed in your laptop, and I'm assuming the majority of you are using laptops, but let's say you wanted to get away from that laptop and use a little bit more robust desktop computer. If you have a Mac, your Macintosh computer camera screen is going to be good. But if you're a Windows user, this Logitech 920C camera that I'm showing is probably one of the best for collaborative tools. So if you know other agents out there that don't know what camera to get in order to do video conferencing because they have a desktop computer and they're not using a laptop, that Logitech camera, in fact, that's the one that I'm on right now, is probably one of the best webcams out there on the market. It's super HD. It's got great video quality. So you can order it online at Amazon. You can go to logitech.com and order it. If you've got a computer store that's open, I think, I'm not sure at Best Buy, but probably in this day and age, your best bet is just to order it off of Amazon, so that way you can keep yourself safe. So our second tip is to always back up your data and devices. And you never know when something's going to happen. And I know cybercrime is going to increase with our social distancing because more and more people online, and that's what cyber criminals look for. So you can back up several ways. You can use an external hard drive to back up your information, which is great. But the problem is if you've got a laptop, you're not always going to plug that external hard drive in. You can also use what's called a network access storage device, or a NAS device. It works two ways. You can either use it as a super duper hard drive with a lot of storage, Or if you were leery of the cloud, you can set up your own personal cloud using a NAS device. But to be honest with you, to make life simpler for yourself in your real estate business, you probably should utilize a cloud backup. What you're seeing on the screen here is the Windows file history backup, which will back up stuff automatically if you have a Windows 10 computer. And then, of course, if you're a Mac user, there's Time Machine that you can utilize in order to back up your stuff to your Macintosh in order to make sure that all your information is safe. But my recommendation is to utilize cloud backup, because with cloud backup, it's a no-brainer. You pretty much enable the cloud service and it'll automatically back up your data and information for you without you having to remember to plug in that external hard drive. So I hope everyone watching is using some sort of backup, and I hope there's that you're setting up to back up automatically. Now, one of the things that we've been talking about that will back up automatically is OneDrive. And so OneDrive is an option that you can automatically back up your Windows files to. But you can also utilize iCloud Drive if you're a Mac user. But the downside about iCloud Drive is the fact that it will only back up Macintosh created files. So that means if you're using files such as numbers or pages or Keynote, those are the only things that will automatically be backed up to iCloud Drive. The other thing that you should know with iCloud Drive, if you've got an older Mac, is that you can tell your Mac to automatically save your desktop and your documents and your pictures to your iCloud folder. So that way, when you save a document, it automatically goes to the cloud. So if something bad happens to your Mac, it'll automatically be stored on iCloud. So that's an option to consider. Another option is Google's Backup and Sync. Now, if you've got a Gmail account, the Google Backup and Sync is a good option to automatically back up your files. For both Windows and Mac, you can just download Google Backup and Sync by Googling Google Backup and Sync. It'll install a utility on both your smartphones and on your laptop or desktop computers that will not only back up your photos, which offers unlimited backup for photos and videos, but it'll also back up any documents too. And the good thing about Google Backup and Sync, that it will not just only back up Google Docs. If you've got Word documents, documents that you've created in another program, Google Backup and Sync will automatically back up everything that you have in the documents folder, and it will automatically back up everything in whatever folder you tell to go to Google Drive. Now, the limitation with Google Drive is for the free version, you get 15 gigabytes worth of storage data, but with any of the cloud storage services, you can always purchase more room in order to get more storage. Now, our next obviously is a real popular one, Dropbox. Dropbox I like, but the challenge with Dropbox is that you have to remember to drag your files to Dropbox. To my knowledge, there's not a utility that will automatically back up your information to Dropbox. You can drag and drop it, but at the same time, it's not automatic. So I've seen agents go by months without I could see agents that go months without backing up or dragging their stuff to Dropbox. So the challenge is that if you use Dropbox, that's great. But at the same time, you want to make sure that you are manually or getting into a good habit of dragging that stuff to Dropbox on a regular basis. Another utility, which is my favorite, which is kind of all-encompassing for both Windows and Macs, is a program called Carbonite. And Carbonite is actually what's considered cloud backup service. And the difference between cloud backup and the other ones, which we consider cloud storage, is the fact that with cloud storage services such as Dropbox and OneDrive, the sole purpose of the software is to make sure that you can access those files from anywhere in the world. But with Carbonite, you get redundancy. So Carbonite's going to offer you 30 days worth of backups that you can go to as far as retrieving your files in your folders. And Carbonite is pretty inexpensive, along with its partner program, which is Backblaze. For about $70 a year, both of these services offer you unlimited backup of your data. So once you install the software for both Carbonite And for Backblaze, it's just a matter of connecting your computer to the internet, and both services will automatically back up your files. So that way you don't have to worry about any data loss. And if you do experience an instance of ransomware or data loss, then you can call Backblaze and Carbonite, and they will remote into your computer and they will restore your files for you automatically. So if you aren't using anything for backup, I would recommend going to a cloud backup solution, and probably two of the best that offer you unlimited storage data at a low price would be both Backblaze and Carbonite. So choose those options. And then, like I said, the difference between cloud storage, and I've got a good graphic here to kind of show you what the difference is. So OneDrive, Google Drive, Dropbox, and Apple are considered what's called cloud storage, which means the information is just stored. But as far as backup, CrashPlan, which is only available for business users, but Carbonite and Backblaze are cloud backup because they offer a long period of redundancy. With your Dropboxes and your Google Drives and your OneDrives, you may only get like one extra backup as far as your files are concerned. But with Carbonite and Backblaze, you get multiple days of backup. You get at least 30 days, if not more, with that backup service. So our next tip, number 3, is to make sure you password protect and encrypt your devices. Obviously, we're home, but at some point in time, we're going to be out and about, going to the store. We may even take our laptop or even our smart devices with us. And so if we've got important company information out there, we don't want that to be exposed to people. So probably one of the best things that you can use as far as a password now is considered a passphrase. So most of us get into the habit with our passwords that we use the same word combination or number combination that when we create passwords. And the challenge with that is that most of the password information that we use is on the web in the form of how we communicate with each other on social media. So with us being socially isolated, more and more personal information is going to be posted online. We're home. We're going to be posting stuff about our home. So, without our knowledge, we're probably sharing our passwords without us even knowing it. And cyber criminals are watching. So it's better to use a passphrase. And essentially a passphrase is just 2 words that are put together that kind of form a long password, but at the same time, it'll keep you safe and secure. So one of the passphrases that I always use is one called Stinky Chicken. And then you can put some numbers or letters after it. But a passphrase, you could use 2 unrelated objects together, but get into the habit of using passphrases as opposed to passwords, because in most instances, when you create a passphrase, you're not going to link it to anything personal to you. Like, for the most part, your passwords are going to do for you. Now, other things that you need to do as far as your passwords concerned is to make sure that you're using some form of password keeper. Some people will use LastPass in order to store their passwords. I always recommend, for the quick and easy and safe way, is to make sure that you just go ahead and enable the password sharing option in your web browser. That way it will be quickly easy for you to keep those passwords, but at the same time to be able to log into those secure sites. As of now, all of the web browsers offer password sharing. You can use Chrome, you can use Firefox, even Microsoft Edge and Safari offer you the option to save your password in your browser. And when you do that, it doesn't broadcast it out over the internet. That information is staying locked on your computer or whatever smart device you're using. So that's why it's always important to make sure that you don't, if you have a laptop that you carry out with you or your smartphone, that you always get into the habit of password protecting that stuff. Another thing you want to make sure that you're doing with your mobile devices is to use two-factor authentication. Two-factor authentication is the method when your online site is saying, hey, is this you logging into this device? You can set it up for social media, you can set it up for email, but even though you're confined at home, it's always a good idea to enable two-factor authentication, because if your information is leaked out on the dark web and someone's able to log into your account with the two-factor authentication, at least it will pop up and say, is this you logging into the device? So that way, if you deny it, then the cyber criminal who has access to your credentials can't log into any of your online accounts. So whatever account you're using, make sure that you have two-factor authentication set up. And the other thing you want to utilize is for your smartphones and your computers, you want to enable data encryption. So on your phones, it's pretty easy to enable data encryption. You just put a password on your Android or Windows phone, or not Windows. No one uses Windows phones. Your Android or your iPhone, and it'll automatically encrypt your device, automatically. So it doesn't matter if you're using the numbers, doesn't matter if you're using the key swipe on your phone. Soon as you put a password on your phone, your data is encrypted. Now, if you're using a Windows laptop, you have, in order to enable data encryption, you have to be using Windows 10 Professional on your laptop. And the tool in Windows 10 to encrypt it, if you've got Windows 10 Professional, is BitLocker. BitLocker is built into Windows 10 Professional. So if you want to make sure that no one gets access to the data on your laptop, enable Windows 10 BitLocker on your device. If you've got a Macintosh device, you want to use File Vault, and it doesn't matter which version of macOS you use to access File Vault. You can enable it, and you can make sure that if someone gets a hold of your Mac, they'll just get the Mac, they won't get the data on it. The other thing you want to do is, if you're sending out emails, make sure that you have a method of encrypting those emails. I know iPhone, Outlook, they all have email encryption built into it. There's several utilities out there that will encrypt your email for free. There are numerous tools out there that we'd be here a large part of the time talking about all of the utilities out there, but you could easily, even Gmail has encryption built into it. So if you want to enable email encryption in Gmail, you can encrypt it that way too. But with email, obviously with real estate, if anything that you send out, you want to make sure that it's encrypted via email. So that way it doesn't fall into suspecting hands, or you can do it the old-fashioned way by just telling people face-to-face. And I want to remind agents out there too that your cloud storage services such as Dropbox or OneDrive, all of that information is encrypted in the cloud, so you don't have to really worry about that. Now, our next tip is to beware of mobile phishing. Mobile phishing schemes have popped up in recent months and years as far as utilizing your mobile phone in order to get information from you. One of the ways that you could get phished is with your Android phone. If you've got an Android phone, you really want to be careful what apps you are downloading from the App Store, because if you do, it could have a malicious app that can get sensitive information from your Android device and give it to a cyber criminal. Now, iPhone users don't have to worry about this because the Apple does a good job scanning the Apple Store to make sure that there are not malicious apps in there. But Android does an okay job, but not as good of a job as Apple. So beware of the App Store. Unknown phone calls that come through, just let them go to voicemail. And I know it's hard because a lot of agents out there use their smartphone as their main business phone. So if you're leery, you don't know what the number is, just let it go to voicemail and then respond to it later, because you don't want a situation where you're giving out sensitive data over your phone. So very worst case scenario, just let it go to voicemail and then just call the buyer or seller back. Other things you can do to make sure that you're safe from mobile phishing is to make sure any text that comes through, you verify before you give sensitive data. The challenge with real estate agents is that if you're using your smartphone as your main business line, your information's out there and cyber criminals can actually get it and use it against you. So if you get a text message, verify who the source is before you respond to it, and make sure that you're not giving out any sensitive information over a text message. And last but not least, malicious websites you want to watch out for. So watch where you're clicking, watch where you're going, and make sure that you're not giving out personal information on specific websites on your computer and on your smartphone. So number 5, make sure that you're always keeping your devices up to date, because like I said at the top of the presentation, when you're using your when you're utilizing your devices, they are completely safe as long as you keep them up to date and secure from all the hackers and malicious websites. So if you've got software and you get a software update, you want to download that. And to kind of give you the background as far as updates are concerned, all the software and hardware manufacturers put out what's called a bug bounty for programs and for hardware. So what happens is they'll put out $1 million bounty to the hacker community out there to say, hey, if you can exploit a hole in this software or piece of hardware, we'll give you a reward money. So if an exploit is found, then the company will give the bounty to whoever the hacker was that stole the data or was able to get into the device. And then they'll issue a security update because someone has found a known vulnerability, and you'll get it in the form of a patch. So when you see an update come in on your iPhone or on your computer, whether it be Windows or Mac, you need to download that, because it means that there is actually an exploit in the hardware or software, and that you need to patch it to make sure that you keep your device safe. And I know the problem with updates is that you're busy working, you're doing stuff, and then of course at the most inopportune time, you get an update that downloads onto your device, or you get an alert that you need to update your device. And so you put it off because you want to get back to work. But trust me, when those updates come down, you want to download them, because it means that there's been a problem that has been verified, and that you want to download it and make sure that it's up to date. Now, as far as a mobile workforce is concerned, as far as the operating system that you should be using, if you're a Macintosh user, you really need to update to Catalina, or at least Mojave, because it's the latest and greatest. And with Apple, when a newer version of macOS comes out, Apple normally just stops support on the older OS. So that means that you won't get the updates for that device. So it's really important that you have at least Mojave, or you have at least Catalina on your Mac, so that you're getting those updates to keep your device from getting exploited from cyber criminals. The last one that you could probably get away with on your Mac would be High Sierra. So at least High Sierra, Mojave, and Catalina are the ones that you want to use on your Mac to make sure that you're still going to continue to get updates for it. Now, with Mac, every fall, they come out with a new operating system. So this fall, High Sierra will fall out of the supported operating systems for Apple, and then it'll just be Mojave, Catalina, and then whatever new Mac OS is coming out. Now, for Windows users, obviously you need to be using Windows 10. There's no ifs, ands, and buts about it. I know there's people out there that hate 7, but Windows 10 is the operating system that you need to go ahead and download and use. And if you're still using 7 out there, you can still get Windows 10 for free for Microsoft's website. So don't be afraid to update. Now, as far as your smartphones are concerned, it's pretty simple. If you've got an Android device, the latest Android update, our operating system for your Android is Android 10. I was trying to show a screen for that. There's Android 10. I think the one before that was Android Pie, but now they're going to a number system. So it's Android 10 that you want to have loaded and downloaded on your Android device. And as far as your iPhone is concerned, you need to be using the latest version of Mac OS 13. So 13 is the latest version of Mac OS. The challenge is, if you've got an older iPhone, the oldest iPhone that you want to use mobilely for a mobile business is an iPhone 8. 8 will allow you to download 13, 8, 10, and then of course the iPhone 11. So those will allow you to download and use iOS 13. As far as the older stuff, as far as older operating systems and older iPhone iOSs, you can't use the old stuff because it's not getting the updates, and it just makes your device that more susceptible to threats. Now, as far as antivirus software is concerned, pretty cut and dry. If you're a Mac user, it's built in. The program's called XProtect. You'll never see it. It works in the background doing its thing to protect you from antivirus software. Now, if you're a Windows user, this is kind of controversial because there are some tech experts that recommend that you get other software, but my recommendation is to use Windows Defender. Now, Windows Defender is automatically included into Windows 7, Windows 8, and Windows 10. Of course, the best protection is going to be from Windows 10. But if you've got Norton, if you've got Kaspersky, if you've got AVG, any of those antivirus programs on your computer, you want to get rid of that and just utilize Windows Defender because it's already built in, you've already paid for it, and it's going to offer you as much robust protection as, say, Norton or Kaspersky or McAfee or any of the other programs out there. And if you wanted to go to Defender, it's just a quick method of you uninstalling whatever antivirus package you have on your computer, and Windows Defender will automatically jump in and take the place of your antivirus program. So I know you may have a relationship with an IT professional, but take it from someone who's been doing this for 27 years. Right, as of right now, Windows Defender is probably going to be the best method to use as far as protecting your Windows computer. Same thing with your Mac. You don't need any extra stuff on your Macintosh. And that also goes for your smartphones too. You do not need any antivirus protection on your smartphone. Now they make ESET and they make Norton for like Android and iPhones, but you don't need it. The thing that you want to do is to make sure that, especially for Android smartphones, is to watch what you're downloading from the App Store to make sure that you're keeping your device safe and secure. So, all right, moving on. Our sixth tip, or my sixth tip, is to stop negligence and accidental risk. And we can breeze through this pretty quickly because I think we realize what all the risks are. Obviously, you don't want to keep any drinks next to your laptop. If you've got a desktop, it doesn't matter because you spill coffee or tea on your keyboard, you can just buy a new keyboard. One of the things that you might want to do as a mobile real estate business user is to get that extended warranty, but you need to be careful which one you get. So if you've just recently purchased a device, or maybe you've got a device that's coming up on its year end, an extended warranty will help as long as you get an extended warranty where the technician comes to you rather than you shipping your device off to someone else. So I know most laptop manufacturers and even desktop manufacturers offer a 1-year warranty on your smart devices. And that's great, but in most instances, you're shipping that device off to the manufacturer in order to get the device repaired. And so if you're in the real estate business, that's not going to do any good because you need your laptop in order to go do stuff, whether you're at home or even if you get to go out and about, say to visit a relative or something, and you want to keep working. But one of the companies that has the best extended warranty would be Dell. Dell offers an excellent extended warranty where if you get even just the 1-year basic warranty, they will send a technician out to your location to fix the device as opposed to you having to ship your device and being without the device for over a week or so. And it could be longer with all of this social distancing going on. So take that in consideration when you're buying devices in the future. Because like if you have an Apple device and you have Apple Care, something happens to your Apple device, there's nothing you can do because you can't take it to the Apple store to get it repaired. I mean, you could ship it off the Apple, but you're gone without it. So if you're in the market for a new device or you're getting close to your year in warranty with a current device you have, consider, and it's a Dell, consider getting an extended warranty or whatever brand of computer you have. Call your manufacturer and find out if they do indeed offer on-site repairs for your extended warranty. Because as a tech guy, there are only specific things that we can get from the computer store. And most parts for smartphones and computers, you're not going to be able to find at, say, Best Buy, Fry's, or Micro Center. So take a look at that extended warranty. Obviously, the other thing you want to do is to make sure that your devices aren't getting stolen. So if you happen to venture out for something, make sure you're keeping an eye on your device. We're starting to enter some tough times. So technology devices are always going to be high theft items, especially with people having loss of income. So if you do go out to the grocery store or doctor's office, whatever, make sure that if you are taking a device with you, that you're making sure that you've got it protected for theft, and you keep your eyes on it. Make sure that your device is encrypted as well. So if it is stolen, someone will get their device. They won't actually get your buyer and seller data. If you're out and about, obviously you're not going to be going to a coffee shop now, but let's just say you're at the automobile dealership, because you've got to get your car worked on. And yes, they do have free Wi-Fi. And that's not Burton's way of telling you that go to the dealership and use their Wi-Fi. I'm just saying, if you're getting car repairs and you're using the free Wi-Fi, make sure that you watch out for shoulder surfers. And this can happen anywhere that you're using your device when you're out in the public. There is ways, and there are people that will look over your shoulder, memorize passwords and usernames for your online accounts. So you want to make sure that your shoulder surfers aren't accessing your personal data. I think I had a screen of that. I get a kick out of it. So let me show that. So there's a guy shoulder surfing. So there we go. And then obviously when it comes to work devices, you don't want the kids to get a hold of them. Obviously kids don't really care what they do when they get your smart device. So with kids being at home, if you haven't already, you might want to consider getting your kids their own devices so they stay off your work devices, because I don't know how many agents we've had to go into and fix their devices because they let their kid get on their device and use it. So this we should have talked about in the beginning, but let's go through it because it's very important. Even though you're home, you've got to disinfect your devices. So, and there's a proper way to disinfect your device. So the average smartphone can have more germs in your public restroom. So you want to make sure that you're disinfecting your device. There's an awesome product that you can purchase online called Pure and Clean Surface Cleaner. It will kill most flu germs out there. And you can just spray it on any surface, meaning your smartphone, tablet, your computer, and it will kill the germs on those devices. If you didn't want to splurge for something like Pure and Clean, you can make your own homemade. You can make your own homemade remedy of 50% water, 50% alcohol. But make sure, this is the important thing, if you're going to make your own home remedy, make sure that you get the 70% version of alcohol. Anything below that is not going to be sufficient to kill the germs on your device. And the most important thing as far as disinfecting your devices is when you spray whatever solution, whether it be Pure and Clean or whether it be your 50-50 alcohol mix, you have to make sure that when you spray that fine mist on your device, that you let it sit for no less than 5 minutes to make sure that it fully disinfects your device. I know most of you are in the habit of just grabbing it, and luckily I've got my smartphone here, but yeah, most of you, and believe it or not, I got a bottle of Pure and Clean here. So I do practice what I preach. So most of you are getting in the habit, you spray your device, and then you grab your, let me move this bottle of Pure and Clean. You grab your rag, you wipe it, you think you're done. That's not how it works. You need to spray it. I sprayed some paper. Let it set for 5 minutes, and then after it sets for 5 minutes, then you can go and kill the germs, or it will kill the germs on that device. And when you utilize or when you wipe down your devices, make sure that you're using a microfiber cloth whenever you use to clean any electronic out there. Always use a microfiber cloth. Doesn't have to be gray, but this is a good microfiber cloth. And anytime you deal with electronics, you want to make sure that you're using a microfiber cloth. And like I said, I practice what I preach. So there's the alcohol. And like I said, it's got to be at least 70% if you're going to make your own home mixture. So keep that in mind. But whatever you do when you disinfect surfaces of your home, surfaces in your office, make sure that when you spray that mist, you're letting it sit for 5 minutes to make sure that your devices are fully disinfected. There's a product on the market, and I've got a screenshot of it, but I don't think you'll be able to get it, called phone soap. I don't know how many agents out there have heard of that, but phone soap uses UV rays, in order to zap the germs off your device. And you can get it at phonesoap.com. And Phone Soap, I think it's sold out, but you can get in line to get an order. But the main thing is that we want to get into good technology habits as far as disinfecting our technology, because I think the problem is that we utilize our tech devices. We really don't take the time to disinfect them. We can wash our hands, and everyone's saying, wash your hands to make sure that you're disinfected, but you don't want to forget about your technology devices, because it doesn't make any sense to have clean hands and have a dirty device. So 5 minutes when you're disinfecting. And finally, our last tip as far as making sure you are working remotely safe is to have a solid tech support. And that's not Burton saying call Burton for tech help. That's Burton saying that make sure that you have a good technology partner to contact, because at the office, you're able to call up the tech guy, but you working remotely, I'm sure the tech guy is probably engaged with agents like yourself trying to help them. So make sure that you have solid tech help and someone who's able to either safely remote into your device and make sure that you're taken care of, or if they're coming on site, make sure that they have the right tools or disinfecting themselves right when they walk in. You want to make sure that if a tech shows up, or you have to have someone show up to work on your tech devices, that they're wearing an N95 respirator in order to make sure that you're not getting infected with germs, and make sure that whatever tech company that you're using is disinfecting their hands and their tech devices whenever they work on your stuff, because you don't want to invite someone in to fix your device, but then find out that you're sick and that you need to get medical attention. So to sum things up, you basically want to make sure that, number one, that you've got decent internet and you're able to access and collaborate well. Also, you want to make sure that you're keeping on top of cybercrime so that you aren't clicking on links and going to websites that are going to infect your device. And then finally, you want to make sure that you are disinfecting your devices. You've got to stay up to date on that stuff to make sure that you're keeping your devices disinfected, you're keeping your office disinfected, and that you're doing it the right way. Because we hear so much, and people are so tempted. Now, believe it or not, I've got some of these. As you can see, these are supposedly electronic wipes that will clean your device. You don't want to use these. The other thing you don't want to use on your devices is bleach. You don't want to use bleach on any of your electronic devices because it will ruin them completely. So just keep that in mind. And finally, as far as disinfecting is concerned, one other thing, I forgot I have this here. They do make microbial or antimicrobial cases that you can get for any of your devices, whether it be your computer or your smartphone, where it'll actually act as a phone protector, but it also has 8 elements on it where it'll reduce the amount of microbes that will grow on your smartphone, your tablet, whatever. And this product is from Tech21. I'll kind of put that up to the screen there. And it's just their antimicrobial phone or laptop case that you can get from Tech21. They still sell those online. So if you go to tech21.com, you can order it for your Android phone, you can order it for your iPhone, and you can order it for your laptop too. So you want to stay safe out there. You want to make sure that you're doing everything you can protect yourself from cybercrime, and you also want to make sure that you are making sure that you're keeping your devices disinfected. So I know that was a ton of information out there, but I've got time for questions if you've got time for questions. So let me stop this screen share so we can get back to my friendly face and ask away. Oh, I see. Oh, Cindy, you got your hand up, but I can't hear you. I guess, are you muted? Oh, okay, yeah, go ahead.
Chris had asked back when you were talking, I believe, on Windows Defender. She wanted to know what protection were you talking about for Mac?
Oh, no protection. It's built in.
Okay.
Yeah, the program is called XProtect, but there's no indicator to let you know that XProtect is running on your Mac. It's just something that is always there as soon as you turn the Mac on. It just automatically does its thing. So there's nothing that you need to do for a Macintosh computer.
Okay.
Anyone else with any questions? Like I said, I know I went through a lot of information there. I'm trying to see if there's anyone text. I forgot to look at the, oh, I see you wrote, okay. I didn't see if there was anybody else that had any questions. So I think that does it for now. So like I shared with Cindy earlier, I'm going to send Cindy the recording from this, and then Cindy, you're going to upload it to the website?
Yes.
Okay. So, well, thanks for letting me do this. I hope I was able to help make you agents and real estate professionals more productive, you know?
Well, thank you, Burton. Appreciate it.
No problem.
And we'll be looking forward to talking social media next week with you.
Yes, that's right. Next, I can't believe I saw that, and I couldn't believe April is like less than a week away. So it's kind of crazy. So good talking with you, Cindy. Talk to you soon.
You too.
All right. Bye-bye.